Hi, and welcome back to the channel. This video is the first of a new series that we'll be running this week to see how Barcelona of today weigh up tactically against the Barcelona of old. Starting off with this video of Pep Guardiola in the 6-2 win against Real Madrid at the Santiago Bernabeu. But before we get into the video, please do subscribe to the channel as it would help us a lot to keep making videos like this and keep you guys entertained. Let's see what Real Madrid went up against, checking out what Barcelona did in the possession phase. Let's start.
In the build-up phase, Barcelona would of course look to split their centre-backs very wide in order to receive the ball. This is where we see that Real Madrid actually had to come up with a front two in be able to press. But this Barcelona side had so much confidence that they wouldn't drop YAYA in between the centre-backs. There would actually be like a triangle in between them in order to be able to retain possession for Barcelona. But we did see that Real Madrid, Jose Mourinho actually had Raúl going on to YAYA Touré, and then we would actually see that Arjen Robben came on to Puyol in order to be able to press more efficiently. But Barcelona kept going back to Valdés, and that actually pulled one of Higuaín and Robben into a press. Now this would actually then free up Piqué fairly well, and the ball could actually go over to Alves as well. So Barcelona really did bypass the pressure from Real Madrid as if these guys were not even there. Jose Mourinho started changing his tactics in order for Real Madrid to press more effectively. Instead of letting Higuaín press now, he actually had Higuaín going on to Piqué, and he actually let Raúl press the goalkeeper from this deep position from YAYA Touré, but at the same time he would actually try to cut out the passing lane from there. This was very, very effective, and Barcelona started now to play into the fullbacks a lot more because the passes to the centre-backs was now much more risky. But now when the ball would actually go onto the fullback, then the winger, Robben and Marcelo, would actually be able to catch the ball on the fullbacks. But this is when Barcelona changed, where Xavi actually dropped into this position over here. As we see, Xavi himself as a manager actually uses this tactic as well. That's why he loves Frenkie de Jong to come into this position right here, because he himself had to drop into the position to be able to receive the ball. Then he would actually look to progress the ball up the pitch. Madrid started retreating because they realized that pressing this Barcelona team there was no point to it. This is where Barcelona actually reverted to a back three with Puyol, Piqué and Abidal being the back three, allowing Dani Alves to go forward. This is where Samuel Eto'o, who was actually a natural 9, came in more central, while that allowed Barcelona to have Messi drop deep in order to even things out within the midfield. But this was now another problem for Barcelona, as the progression of the ball was now much more difficult because Real Madrid was closing down the middle. This is now where YAYA Touré actually went sideways, drifted, in order to be able to pick up the ball. So if he was pressed, Barcelona would actually have a gaping hole in the area right over here where people could actually drop into. And it was actually Xavi or Iniesta that would drop into the position here way back in order to be able to receive the ball. We did see that when Abidal was sideways, and then Xavi was actually the one willing to drop into his position, where Abidal would actually go much more forward in order to be fluid and not be able to be pressed and not to be static.
You can practically say that Pep won the game with the positioning of Lionel Messi, because when Real Madrid was sitting on the midfielders, he was dropping into the midfield. That allowed Xavi and Iniesta to do these dropping movements. And since Samuel Eto'o is a number 9, he could easily fill in the space. That allowed Dani Alves to go up top. But Barcelona still had enough courage to not drop or play with a back three like we see teams do today. Pep had enough confidence to actually let them play with a back two and circulate the ball along with Valdez. So if they would actually go out to press, they could easily have a 3 versus 4 in the midfield disadvantage for Real Madrid. And this is how the tactics for Barcelona mainly worked. Because when they were sitting there deep, Iniesta and Xavi could easily go out to receive the ball from the centre backs, and YAYA couldn't be pressed or pinned down because that just left space for Iniesta and Xavi to operate in. And Messi was dropping all kinds of ways in order to get the ball. So let's talk a little bit more about Messi's positioning. Because he was dropping, Eto'o became the number 9 like previously discussed. That allowed Dani Alves to go a lot more forward on the right wing over there. But this is where Xavi and Iniesta could, like we said, operate a little bit more deeper. But let's talk about the tactics on the left-hand side, because Messi often dropped more to the left than he actually went over to the right. This allowed Thierry Henry to be marked, and now often they were 2-on-1 against Sergio Ramos. But here's the thing, when Messi dropped, we often saw that either Xavi or Iniesta would run ahead of him. That took away Diarra and the focus on Messi. So when Messi multiple times at the ball, Real Madrid didn't know how to defend him. He often found Eto'o, which would get a shot on goal, or he would find Iniesta or Thierry Henry. We even had on the right hand side, saw that Xavi operated over here along with Toure. And this is where Barcelona actually had nobody in the defensive midfield position. We saw Iniesta there, we saw Xavi there, whole lot of people. On the right hand side, we did see that Iniesta and Xavi went up there along with Messi, and Messi mainly operated as a deep line playmaker, where people would actually come in a lot more narrow because Messi was the operator over there in that position. This is where Messi was dropping, created a lot of trouble and problems for Real Madrid in this position. But that was mainly because they only had 2 defensive midfielders. This brought the whole team narrow. That's why they could find everybody else so good on the wings and in between the lines for Xavi and Iniesta to move in. In the second half, Real Madrid started pressing with a front 3 in order to put more pressure on Barcelona, because the involvement of Valdez were a problem for Real Madrid. This is where we see that Barcelona did started building up with a back 3 with Abidal joining as the third centre back. And like we previously discussed, Barcelona had enough confidence even to a man-to-man for Real Madrid. This allowed Alves, of course, to go forward. But because the positioning, the way that the back 3 was positioned actually allowed Barcelona to have still more advantages, because they were almost like it was like in a diamond along with YAYA Toure. So the circulation of the ball could really go really well against the 3 of Barcelona. And if Barcelona wanted to, they could actually use Xavi as well as Iniesta in order to try and get these guys to come to one side. This left Piqué open where he could receive the ball and then actually take the ball forward, look to build up and get the ball upfield. When Sergio Ramos scored Real Madrid's second goal and Barcelona shortly replied after that with their fourth goal, Barcelona just started to kick into gear, moving the ball a lot more quicker than they usually would. They didn't necessarily change their tactics, they just changed how they
how quick they were able to move the ball and how they slow down the game and actually quicken it up again. For an example, if Messi were dropping in the first half to just receive the ball and lay a pass off or look to find the fullback, he was now receiving the ball in these regions to actually look to dribble, and that is how the 5th and the 6th goal came in this game again. Thierry Henry started to invert a lot more, because when Messi came deep, they actually used the ball in behind. That is how he actually scored. But the ball actually came from deep, because Xavi was in this region here receiving the ball, because these players would run out to Messi and then they were playing Thierry Henry. Furthermore, that is just how the game was going, and Barcelona actually cruised to a victory, surprisingly easy, scoring the goal.
Well, that will be all from our side today. I hope you understood the video and enjoyed the video as well. The next video we will be discussing Tata Martino's tactics in the 4-3 win over Real Madrid. Thank you very much for watching this video. Thank you for your undying support and love and subscribing to the channel. I do appreciate you guys. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, please make sure that you do subscribe, because it will help us a lot. Thank you very much for your loyalty. Goodbye and enjoy the rest of your time. Thank you very much.